John Donne uses three metaphors to talk about his love. Call her one and me another fly. This is quite against the Petrarchan tradition or any other traditional love poetry, when the persona calls himself a fly and his beloved another one. Again, he brings in the image of the phoenix, which rises from its own ashes. Another image he puts in beautifully is that of an eagle and a dove. Now, looking at John Donne's biographical context, it is highly likely that he brought in these two images from the Bible. In Bible, the dove signifies purity, innocence, and also it was considered to be the symbol of the Spirit. The eagle, if we read the Old Testament carefully, is actually a metaphor which is used by prophets to signify God, the Almighty, the Omniscient. So you have the symbols of purity, you have the symbols of strength coming together in the eagle and the dove image. And again, he talks about the tapers, which might be used to signify, again, the holy presence or the presence of a holy space, as the title canonization signifies. So as we examine all these metaphors, we find that it is not simply intellectual alone, but rather it is spiritual too, which is why it is called metaphysical. The image of the birds, dove, eagle, and phoenix, the image of the taper, the image of the fly, all bring together the metaphysical conceits to such a level that you kind of get confused if Donne is talking about a physical love or a platonic, spiritual kind of a love. And he beautifully merges the physical and the spiritual together in this stanza. The next stanza brings in the paradoxical truth about love, the canonization of love by building tiny rooms of sonnets for themselves, so as to save themselves from eternal death, so as to save themselves, two saints, from wanting a space which is a half-acre tomb. All that is necessary to canonize us is a pretty little sonnet, a love sonnet, wherein we talk about our love as metaphysically as possible. Just like the well-wrought urn carries the ashes of a person, so as to sustain the memory of the person inside. Donne uses that phrase, the well-wrought urn, which reminds us of Keats's Ode on a Grecian Urn. In the poem, Keats talks about the three images he sees on an urn when he visits a museum. The image of a lover about to kiss his beloved, the image of a boy playing on the flute, the image of an entire village which is on its way for a sacrifice, the cow included. Now, Keats at the end of the poem concludes, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. The sacrifice might have got over, the lover would have kissed his beloved, and the boy would have stopped playing music. But in art, it's all permanent. It is the same permanence which Spencer tries to talk about in his Amority, when he says, as long as I am a poet and I can write down poems about you, my beloved, you will never ever be forgotten. Now, this phrase, the well-wrought urn, was borrowed by Cleanth Brooks in 1947 when he brought out a book of essays which dealt with poems of poets from Shakespeare to Yeats.